This is Tank's vlog for July 28, 2017, wrapping up the day in sports. That Los Angeles steamroller continues to roll. Today, the Los Angeles Dodgers began a 3-game series with the San Francisco Giants and got 2 home runs from Corey Seager, leading them to a 6-4 win at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers are incredibly 37-6 since June 6th. I mean, right now, I just don't think there's anybody that could beat this team. Kershaw, let him rest his month. He'll be back in September. They don't need him at this point. They've won 6 in a row after that brief 2-game losing streak last week, and they're just back to rolling again. They're 72-31 now. They're gonna top 100 wins easily. It's incredible how they've just played just outstanding baseball. Do you realize right now, the Dodgers, if they go 28-31 the rest of the way, 28-31, that's 3 games below 500. They will win 100 games exactly. If they go, that's just mind-boggling. This team right now could possibly win 110 or more games. And at the beginning of the season, the Dodgers and Giants, everyone expected them to fight it out for the NL West, and it's just all Dodgers. They now have a 13-game lead on the Arizona Diamondbacks, who lost 1-0 to the Cardinals today. A scary moment when Robbie Ray got drilled in the head with a line drive. And the Giants, meanwhile, they're way down in last place, 40-64. It has been an utterly disastrous season by the Bay. The Mets today began a 3-game series in Seattle. Took an early lead, fell behind, but battled back as Michael Conforto hit 2 home runs, playing for the first time in front of his hometown. So Michael Conforto got some nice home cooking, and he showed how good he really is to his home fans. And that second home run was big. It tied the game after the Mets had fallen behind 5-4. And Rafael Montero just shows you just how bad he is. They gave him a 4-run lead. He couldn't get out of 5th. He just had an absolute meltdown inning. As I always call him, Rafael Montero. One thing, though, that's interesting the Mets did today is, after trading Lucas Duda yesterday, the Mets, instead of selling, brought. They added A.J. Ramos, the Marlins' top reliever. This is probably a prelude to Addison Reed being dealt. Of course, Reed today, he got the save. It was a little shaky, but this is probably going to be, any day now, Addison Reed is going to be jettisoned by the Mets. Familia is starting his rehab work, so maybe he'll be back by the end of the year. And we'll see what the Mets could do with Ramos. And Ramos is under control next year, so the Mets will have him on the roster. So I'm just a little skeptical at the moment, though. I don't know how good he could do. I've never really thought of him as a great reliever. But we'll have to wait and see. In the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers are battling back again. They're not dying. They're not going away. And won the first of a weekend series against the Chicago Cubs, 2-1. They got a great start by Brent Sutter. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on in there. That's going to be a good series. And we had a flip of the division leaders in the AL East. The Boston Red Sox, who have been scuffling lately, today had to put David Price on the disabled list, and were beaten by the Kansas City Royals, who are steamrolling, won 9 in a row, but the Royals can't gain any ground. Yes, the Cleveland Indians continue to win just as much. They're on an 8-game winning streak, so things are getting interesting, to say the least, in the American League Central. The Yankees got another home run by Aaron Judge, his 33rd of the year, but the big star today was Masahiro Tanaka with 14 strikeouts. And the only blemish was Lucas Duda in his first game with the Rays, hitting one into the second deck at Yankee Stadium, wrapping it right around the foul pole. And that's our 3 stars of the day is Tanaka, who only allowed 2 hits in 8 innings. Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians had a home run with 3 RBIs and scored 4 runs against the hapless Chicago White Sox. And Brent Sutter of the Brewers, who did not allow an run while giving up 4 hits in 7 innings as the Brewers won the first of a key 3-game series against those Cubs. Today's sports birthday shout-out is to Detroit Red Wing legend Ted Lindsay, who turns 92. And we take a on this date look back at the USFL and its Pyrrhic victory against the NFL. Today, this was the monopoly lawsuit brought by Donald Trump and the rest of the USFL owners against the NFL over a monopoly. And as the UFL was basically telling these ABC, CBS, NBC, you can't show their games, otherwise we won't be able to show our games. And they won. They won the lawsuit, but only got $1. And it was a misunderstanding of the jury of how to decide the award and the damages done to the USFL. And that ended up being all the USFL ever got. It ended up being tripled because of antitrust rules. So even though they won the lawsuit, they lost the war, and a couple days later the USFL was forced to fold. Now some people have blamed Donald Trump for wanting to take the league to the fall for the USFL's demise. And as you can see behind me, that is a pennant of the New Jersey Generals. So the USFL is always, I still remember deeply and fondly the USFL. I still think that the 1986 Generals could have probably been one of the greatest NFL teams of USFL teams, one of the greatest professional football league teams of all time, had they been able to take the field. And that's the biggest shame about the USFL's collapse. But ultimately, the problem was Trump was right that nobody really wanted to watch spring football, and the crowds. Some places they got good crowds, some places they got really bad crowds. They got 3,000 at the friggin' LA Coliseum, 90,000 seat stadium. So that tells you what the problem was. Nobody went to games in Chicago, and they were half full in most places. So eventually USFL had to go to the fall, otherwise it would never have lasted. They were losing too much money in the spring. The only problem is they probably went 1 year too soon. In 1987, the Fox network started, and they could have really used the Fox network as a big boost for their long-term survival. And of course, with the 87 strike and the scab games, they could have really made some damage in 87 if they just waited 1 year. So we take a full look back at Barstool Sports and at sportsencyclopedia.com, where sports history lives. Good day.